Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So what if I told you that for a highly advanced yoga practitioner, just eating a single ordinary slice of raw onion is the exact biological equivalent of downing 3 double shots of whiskey?
Right, which sounds completely absurd to hear out loud.
Totally absurd. And that the resulting feeling of being just completely intoxicated from this onion would last for an entire workday.
Yeah, 6 to 8 hours of just being, entirely out of it.
Exactly. So today we are basically tearing up the standard definitions of health, toxins, and, well, sobriety.
Mm.
We're looking at the really bizarre, highly contradictory relationship between deep yogic meditation and intoxicants.
Because, the closer you get to higher consciousness, the more your physical reality and your Friday night happy hour just completely fractures.
Yeah, it really does.
It forces us to ask a very uncomfortable question about our everyday lives. Like, what is medicine for one state of human consciousness can act like a highly toxic narcotic to another? So the things we just assume are universally healthy might actually just be the things our bodies are, well, too numb to react to.
So our source for this exploration today is Osman. He's known as the Blind Muslim Yogi, and he's an advanced yoga and meditation teacher, as well as a master-level energy healer.
Very advanced in the practice.
Yeah. So, okay, let's unpack this, because if you walk into almost any yoga studio in the world today, 99.99% of the teachers are going to forbid intoxicants.
Oh, absolutely. Strict rules.
Right. Many of them won't even let you touch a cup of mild black tea, let alone a cocktail. But Osman's framework is entirely different. It's a really nuanced, completely non-judgmental perspective.
Yeah, he is looking at this through the strict mechanics of what he calls yoga science, but he's also drawing on this truly extreme personal history with substance abuse.
Which is wild.
It is. His perspective completely bypasses the moral posturing we usually see around this topic. Like, he isn't lecturing anyone from some ivory tower of lifelong ascetic purity.
No, not at all.
Instead, he treats the human body like an energetic engine, and he's simply looking at the literal physics of what different substances do to that engine's output.
Right. So if you are listening to this right now on your morning commute with a thermos of coffee, or you're someone who uses meditation to survive a really high-stress work week, this deep dive is going to fundamentally rewire how you look at your dietary habits.
It really will change your perspective on your next salad.
Seriously. So to understand why a side salad could essentially knock a person unconscious, we first have to establish the baseline goal of these practices. So according to Osman's interpretation of yoga science, the entire purpose of this work is to elevate consciousness.
Right, to move up.
Yeah, you are actively trying to push your awareness upward, away from baseline human existence.
Think of it as like a vertical axis. Osman uses a very specific spatial mapping to explain this.
Okay.
Imagine your current everyday state of life force energy, like where you are sitting right now listening to this, is point Z.
Point Z, got it.
Yeah. From that baseline, yoga science maps out 7 chakras, or energy centers, moving upward along the spine. And these represent progressively higher, more refined states of consciousness.
But it's a two-way street, isn't it? Because Osman's framework also includes 7 lower levels descending below point Z.
Yeah, exactly. And that downward trajectory is where the mechanics of alcohol come into play.
Okay.
In this energetic framework, alcohol possesses this heavy, dense gravity. It doesn't just, stall your meditative progress or hit pause on it. It actively pulls your life force downward.
So it's an active drag.
Right. Depending on the volume you consume, drinking physically drops your consciousness down 1 or 2 levels below that point Z baseline. What's fascinating here is that this explains so much about human behavior.
Wait, it sounds exactly like a video game. Like meditation is you slowly, painstakingly earning experience points to level up your character's consciousness.
That's a great way to put it.
But taking a drink is like stepping on a hidden trap door that instantly drops you back to a lower dungeon level.
Yeah, and you are literally operating from that lower dungeon level. Like, the you that exists down there is fundamentally different from the you at point Z.
Wow.
This spatial drop in consciousness offers a really fascinating explanation for the behavioral shifts we see with intoxication. You might feel this rush of euphoria, sure, but you start making decisions you would normally filter out.
Right. You act recklessly, you say things you regret, you just lose your inhibitions.
Because the cognitive architecture you're using to make those decisions has been downgraded. The higher level filters are physically inaccessible from that lower energetic floor.
So the core conflict is basically set. The goal of yoga is upward momentum, and the defining characteristic of alcohol is downward drag.
Correct.
Which brings up a really obvious question. If alcohol is a literal trapdoor, doesn't that mean you have to be this pure, untouchable ascetic to ever experience true enlightenment?
You'd think so, right?
Like, do you have to live in a cave to make any progress?
Yeah.
Because Osman's personal backstory shatters that assumption completely.
Oh, absolutely shatters it. His history with alcohol is extreme by, honestly, any medical or social metric.
Yeah, he's totally open about it.
Before he quit drinking entirely 19 years ago, he spent roughly 2 decades as a daily, incredibly heavy drinker. I mean, he openly refers to his former self as a massive party animal.
And we need to be really clear about the volume here because it borders on the medically impossible.
It really does.
He describes consuming 1 to 2 entire bottles of whiskey by himself, steadily pacing it out over an evening without losing physical control.
Which is astounding.
Right. He claims that 99% of the time he wouldn't even pass out. But on the rare occasions he did push it too far on a Friday night, his method for quote-unquote recovering on Saturday morning is what really stops you in your tracks.
Oh, the Saturday routine?
Yeah. He would wake up and consume 24 pints of beer in a 2-hour window.
I mean, the physical capacity required to process that much liquid, let alone that much ethanol, it just challenges our basic understanding of human biology.
Wait, let's push on that for a second.
Huh.
24 pints of beer in 2 hours isn't just heavy drinking. For a normal human being, that is acute, near-lethal alcohol poisoning.
Without a doubt.
Your liver physically cannot metabolize that. How does someone in that biological state even sit upright, let alone continue to function? Because he says he would finish those 24 pints, start a barbecue, invite a friend over, and then drink 2 more bottles of whiskey until 2 in the morning.
Yeah, the sheer toxicity of it should have shut his organs down completely. But this is where Osman's lived experience creates this massive paradox within his own yogic framework.
Okay, how so?
Well, while he was subjecting his body to this industrial-level poisoning, he was simultaneously maintaining a really rigorous yoga and meditation practice.
Oh.
And somehow, he was making profound progress. He wasn't just maintaining his baseline, he reached a state called samadhi.
And for those listening who might only know yoga as like a stretching class at the gym, samadhi is the absolute pinnacle of yogic achievement.
The ultimate goal, yeah.
It is a state of intense, unshakable meditative absorption. It's often described as a complete union with the divine, where the ego just dissolves and you reach the highest possible elevation of consciousness.
Right.
How can those two realities coexist? If alcohol is aggressively throwing him down the trapdoor into the lower chakras, how is he simultaneously achieving the highest state of spiritual enlightenment?
It forces us to reconsider the raw power of the energetic practices themselves. I mean, Osman's upward momentum, the sheer force of his energy work and meditative focus was apparently strong enough to overpower the massive downward gravity of the alcohol.
That is wild.
It's comparable to sprinting up a downward moving escalator. It is wildly inefficient, it demands a massive toll on the system, but if the upward force you generate is immense enough, you can still reach the top floor despite the machinery actively trying to drag you down.
It's an incredible testament to the efficacy of the practice, sure. But Osman makes it very clear he is not recommending anyone try to outmuscle a whiskey habit with intense meditation.
Oh, definitely not. It's a grueling, destructive way to live. Yeah.
He eventually abandoned alcohol completely because the energetic friction just became unsustainable. But importantly, the lesson he took from this era of his life wasn't rigid dogmatism.
Right, he's not preachy about it.
Exactly. He doesn't preach that a single drop of alcohol ruins you forever. And to support this, he references the teachings of S.A. Subramanya Swami, the highly respected founder of the Saiva Siddhanta Church in Hawaii.
Oh, right. What is the Swami's protocol on this? Because finding a middle path in a practice so focused on purity seems really rare.
The Swami's guidance offers a very pragmatic approach to the mechanics of the body. He advised that consuming 1 or 2 glasses of wine or a pint or 2 of beer is acceptable provided there's one strict condition.
Which is?
The alcohol must be consumed with or after meals. It should never be introduced to an empty stomach.
Interesting. From a Western medical standpoint, I mean, that just slows the absorption of alcohol into the bloodstream, preventing a sudden spike in blood alcohol concentration. Yes, but from a yogic perspective, introducing it with food changes how the substance integrates energetically.
Oh, I see.
Food grounds the body. It acts as an energetic buffer, absorbing that downward pull of the alcohol and preventing that violent drop in consciousness.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the takeaway is that occasional social drinking, when paced and properly buffered, won't instantly derail your spiritual progress. The danger only arises when you lose control and the sheer volume of the downward pull overwhelms your upward momentum.
So a beer with dinner won't destroy your chakras. But as Osman's journey progresses, we hit this really bizarre biological turning point.
Yeah, things get weird.
If you stay on the path and make deep, sustained progress in yoga, your physical body starts to fundamentally transform.
Yeah.
The armor you've built up over a lifetime begins to vanish.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the phenomenon of cellular rejuvenation. And it's where the traditional medical view of health completely splits from the yogic view. According to yoga science, advanced meditation isn't just a mental or spiritual exercise. It initiates a profound biological rewiring.
Like actual physical changes.
Yes. As you elevate your consciousness, your internal organs, your lungs, your digestive tract, your nervous system, they shed the hardened resilience they've developed over years of adult life.
They effectively regress to a state of pristine purity. I mean, Osman describes the internal organs of an advanced yogi becoming as sensitive and delicate as those of a 3 or 4-year-old child.
You are stripping away the physical callousness that normal adults just rely on to survive in a toxic world. You become biologically unarmored.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's like taking a standard house and upgrading the security system with a hyper-advanced, ultra-sensitive smoke detector.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. It's an upgrade. The technology is vastly superior. But now it's going to blast a deafening system-wide alarm at the absolute slightest puff of smoke from a burnt piece of toast.
Yes, exactly.
The system works perfectly, but its extreme sensitivity makes living in a normal environment incredibly volatile.
That unarmored state changes the threat matrix completely. And Osman uses smoking tobacco to illustrate this perfectly.
Okay, what happens with tobacco?
Energetically, he notes that tobacco doesn't have the same downward gravity as alcohol. It doesn't throw you down the trapdoor into the lower chakras.
Interesting.
But because the yogi's body has undergone this cellular renewal, the physical toxins hit them exponentially harder than they would an average person.
Right, because there's no armor. To put that in perspective, Osman points to the story of Ramakrishna.
Yes.
We're talking about one of the most legendary spiritual teachers in history. He was the guru to Swami Vivekananda, who is the man who famously introduced yoga science to the United Nations World Religious Council back in 1902.
A massively influential figure.
Massive. Ramakrishna was operating at such an elevated frequency that it was actually documented he could trigger profound out-of-body experiences in his students with a mere physical touch.
His nervous system was functioning at an almost incomprehensible level of refinement. But Ramakrishna also enjoyed smoking a pipe.
Right.
And because his body was so entirely rejuvenated, so stripped of its adult defenses, he had zero biological resistance to the carcinogens in the tobacco.
And he ultimately developed and died from fatal throat cancer.
Yeah.
It's a deeply tragic paradox. The very practices that elevated him into a spiritual titan, the practices meant to heal and purify, ultimately rendered his physical body completely defenseless against a common vice.
It really exposes the sheer danger of holding on to physical vices while simultaneously pursuing extreme spiritual purity. The two states are biologically incompatible.
His enlightenment essentially killed his physical form because he introduced a toxin into a pristine environment.
Exactly.
This makes logical sense when we're talking about known toxins, right? Like tobacco, smoke, or whiskey.
Yeah.
A pure body rejects a harsh poison. But this is where Osman's perspective completely upends reality. What happens when that hypersensitive, unarmored yogic body encounters something we universally consider healthy? Like, what happens in the produce aisle?
This brings us to the strict yogic prohibition against onions and garlic.
Which sounds completely absurd to anyone outside this practice.
It does.
Onions and garlic grow in the dirt. They are natural vegetables. From a Western nutritional standpoint, they are packed with antioxidants. They're the foundation of almost every culinary tradition on the planet.
They're superfoods, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Osman himself admitted he used to question this rule heavily.
To understand the prohibition, you really have to look at how yoga science classifies food. It isn't based on vitamins or macronutrients.
What's it based on?
It's based on energetic frequency, or the gunas. Foods are categorized by how they influence the mind and body.
Okay.
Some foods promote clarity and lightness. Others, like alliums, which are garlic and onions, are considered heavily tamasic or rajasic.
Meaning what exactly?
They are viewed as dense, lethargic, or overly stimulating to the lower nervous system.
But for an average person, that energetic density just registers as strong flavor.
Right.
But for Osman, once his body had reached these advanced stages of cellular renewal, that subtle energy became a sledgehammer.
Oh, absolutely.
He tells this incredible story about a Friday routine where he would eat his favorite meal, which was a large dish of spinach cooked with heavy amounts of garlic.
A meal most doctors would praise him for eating.
Exactly. But the effect on his refined nervous system was violent. After finishing the garlic spinach, he said he felt like he had been given an overdose of heavy sleeping tablets.
An overdose.
Yeah, he was hit with this extreme involuntary drowsiness that he just couldn't fight off. He was forced to drop everything he was doing and sleep for 2 to 3 hours just to regain normal cognitive function.
He even attempted to counteract the lethargy by drinking strong coffee, but the caffeine was entirely useless.
The garlic completely overpowered the caffeine. The energetic weight of a common vegetable shut down his highly attuned nervous system. But as extreme as the garlic response was, his experience with raw onions pushes this into entirely new territory.
Oh, the onion story is just wild.
Because the garlic put him to sleep. But the onion got him wasted.
He found that consuming just one single slice of raw onion, the kind you would barely even notice tossed into a side salad, triggered a profound state of deep intoxication.
He explicitly compared the physical sensation of eating one slice of raw onion to drinking 3 double shots of whiskey.
It's unbelievable.
3 double shots from a vegetable garnish.
And this wasn't some fleeting sensation that passed after a few minutes of digestion either.
No.
The onion-induced intoxication lasted for 6 to 8 hours.
An entire workday of being functionally drunk off a salad.
Yeah.
He actually joked about it, laughing at the realization that he had wasted so much money on expensive whiskeys in his past.
Yeah.
He said it's so much cheaper to just get highly advanced in yoga and eat a slice of onion.
It's a funny observation for sure, but this raises an important question. The implications behind it are massive.
How so?
If a common allium acts as a powerful sedative, and a single slice of raw onion acts as a highly potent narcotic to a sensitive, unarmored body, what is that same food doing to everyone else?
You're saying that the effect is always there, we just don't feel it?
Yes. We consume these ingredients constantly. They are the base flavor profile for modern civilization.
True.
If yoga science is correct about the heavy, intoxicating nature of these plants, it suggests that our normal modern state of being is actually a state of chronic, mild sedation.
So we're all just walking around mildly garlic drunk, thinking this heavy, sluggish feeling is just what existing feels like.
We assume that because we don't pass out after eating a slice of onion, the onion is energetically neutral, but Osman's experience suggests the exact opposite. The lack of a dramatic reaction isn't proof that the food is harmless. It is stark evidence that our physical bodies are deeply numb. We've built up so much energetic callousness that we can swallow a sedative and call it a superfood.
Wow. So what does this all mean? When you lay all of this out, from Osman drinking 24 pints of beer, to the tragedy of Ramakrishna's pipe, to getting wasted on a raw onion, a very clear mechanical reality emerges.
It does.
Whether you are dealing with a bottle of scotch or a root vegetable, anything that forcefully alters your state, anything that drags your nervous system into drowsiness or intoxication, is fundamentally working against the entire purpose of yoga.
The ultimate goal is pure conscious awareness, unfiltered presence. And you just cannot maintain that presence if a substance is dragging your energy down the chakras.
Right.
Or if an everyday ingredient is secretly drugging your nervous system into a stupor.
It really demands a complete reevaluation of how we interact with the world. You know, you don't have to be a perfect ascetic from day one. You can slowly walk up the down escalator, making spiritual progress, while still occasionally having a beer with dinner, provided your drive is strong enough to counter the drag.
Yeah, that middle path.
But eventually, the biological math catches up. As your practice deepens, as you strip away the armor of a normal life, you become a hyper-attuned instrument. And in that state of purity, the mundane world becomes incredibly potent.
We spend so much time obsessing over macronutrients and chemical additives, trying to optimize our health based on a purely material understanding of the body.
Totally.
But if an advanced state of meditation can take a completely natural, organic slice of onion and transform it into a mind-altering narcotic within the body, it leaves us with a critical thought to examine.
I'm listening.
If our baseline existence is so callous that we can't even feel the intoxicating effects of our own food, what other profound sensitivities might our modern, hyperstimulated lifestyles be completely masking? What subtle energies, what deeper levels of human experience are we completely missing out on simply because we've built up too much armor to feel them?
That is heavy. It makes you wonder how much of reality we are filtering out just to comfortably survive a Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, question your baseline, and keep seeking out those aha moments.